Rejoice, for what has been held back, delayed, and kept from you is being released right now by my powerful hand. This is not just a coincidence, nor something imagined. It is the fulfillment of what was meant for you. The resources, the money, the promises that were rightfully yours, the things you needed urgently but could never reach. Today is the day they are being unlocked. You searched for them, you asked, you made efforts, you prayed, and you waited, but everything seemed blocked. Yet today I tell you, heaven is working in your favor. The order has been given from my throne, and when I speak, no force can stand against me. What was held by systems, delayed by hardened hearts, or stopped by people is now being released by divine justice, for I am the righteous judge, and nothing escapes my attention. Who told you it was over? Who made you believe that you should accept loss as the final word? Who planted the idea that I had closed the door on you? I do not shut what I am still preparing for you. What I have already promised you, I will give you. I, the Lord, do not lie, and I do not change my mind. I have seen the time that passed, and I was not unaware. I saw how you made plans, hoping for what seemed so close, only to watch hope fade as the days went by without an answer. I saw how you felt discouraged, even ashamed to ask for it again, as if your request bothered me. But listen carefully, I have not forgotten you. I do not turn away your prayers. I hear every cry, and now the time has come to answer. Nothing that belongs to you will ever be lost in vain. Even if you cannot see it with your natural eyes, a spiritual shift is happening right now. Behind the scenes, angels are being sent with clear instructions to fulfill your needs. Documents that have been stuck for so long will begin to move forward. People who once ignored you will feel a strong need to respond. Hearts that were closed will begin to open up. Systems that seemed impossible to change will start to bend. Contracts that were signed in the past but never completed will be renewed. What was blocked by legal issues or held back by a lack of effort from others will now be freed by my will. When I decide to release something, no person, no structure, and no situation can stop it from being yours. You thought it was a no, but it was only a not yet. You thought it was a loss, but it was actually protection. I saved it for you at the perfect time because my timing is always right, and it is not bound by human clocks. What seemed like a delay was just preparation. What you thought was silence, I called the process. Now the moment has come for everything to be fulfilled. The time for your freedom is here, marked by the clock of heaven. You have waited with faith, even when it felt like your faith was slipping. You stayed strong when others told you to give up. You kept believing, even when you felt weak, but I was there holding you up. I spoke to you through dreams, gave you signs, and sent messages through others. Now, I am here to tell you that the waiting is over. It wasn't because of your strength or by the influence of people. It was because of my promise. I am the God who opens doors where there are none, who makes paths in deserts, who brings water from rocks. What belongs to you will come into your hands, not as a gift from people, but as a fulfillment of my promise. Because I do not lie, I do not delay, and I act at the perfect time. The financial blessing, the provision you've been waiting for, had been unlocked. So now, I say to you, listen closely. Do not ignore this message, for it is not by chance. This is your final chance to align with my voice and believe in the living promise. Do not let fear or the logic of the world distract you. Believe, for what was held back is being released right now. Today, says the Lord, listen carefully and take these words seriously. Today, I speak to you with great seriousness and urgency because what is about to take place in your life is no ordinary event. It is not the result of luck or human effort. It is the fulfillment of my divine plan. Just like rain falls without asking permission, the provision I have already promised you will come. It will not announce itself loudly, and it won't bring any noise, but it will be sure, timely, and exact. It will not come through human influence, but through my divine guidance. I am telling you with certainty, it will arrive within the next 11 hours. Do you know the feeling when the mailman rings your doorbell and you've forgotten you ordered something? It will be like that. The answer will come when you least expect it, when your hope had faded and your heart had begun to accept the emptiness. But I do not forget what I promised you. A financial blessing that seemed stuck will be unlocked, an unexpected amount will come, and a door that was sealed shut will suddenly open. It doesn't matter how it happens. It could be an unexpected bank transfer, a long-awaited payment, or someone who owes you being moved by my spirit to return what they owe. Don't worry about how it will come. Just hold on to the fact that I have already spoken, and I am faithful. I don't act based on the economy of this world or the clocks of men. I act according to my eternal will. I saw when you prayed in secret, when you kept your need to yourself, not wanting to seem weak. I saw when you gave your last, knowing it was all you had left. I saw when you chose to trust me instead of complaining, when you looked at your nearly empty cupboard and praised me instead of giving up. Every one of those moments was recorded before me. Every step of faith, every seed you planted during times of scarcity is now producing fruit. Don't think your efforts were in vain. I am not unjust to forget what you've done. The enemy tried to make you believe nothing was happening, that your prayers went unanswered, and your tears were unseen. But I tell you, everything has been counted. Your faith, your consistency, your humility, even your silence, are part of the testimony that has made you the rightful heir to my promise. That is why heaven is now returning to you what you have sown in faith. It's not just about money. It's about honor, restitution, response, and divine justice being poured out in your life. You are about to be amazed not by luck but by the fulfillment of promises, not by human work but by an eternal agreement. Let these words be written on your heart. I, the Lord, am about to surprise you. You are standing on the edge of a moment that will change everything in your life. It's no longer about whether it will happen, but about realizing that it is already happening. As you hear these words, the wind of the Spirit is moving in your favor. As you pray, the miracle is in motion. As you sleep tonight, my hand will not rest until what has been written in heaven with your name is fulfilled. Do not close your heart to this message. Do not take it lightly. Don't let it pass like any other word. This is my voice speaking over your life, with precision, promise, and purpose. Believe, because in the next 11 hours, you will begin to see what you never thought you would receive. When I speak, everything in creation listens and obeys. The doors that people closed for you, the keys they hid to keep you from moving forward, the promises that seem to have disappeared over time, are now being brought to life. Nothing I have spoken in my name stays unresolved. Nothing I promised you have been forgotten or cancelled. What you thought would unfold was actually preparation. What you saw as a delay, I saw as growth. What seemed lost, I was keeping safe until the perfect moment. Not for when you thought it should happen, but for when it would have the deepest meaning and purpose. What appeared dead was not dead. It was simply hidden under my protective hand. While you cried, thinking it would never come, I was making a way for your provision. While others mocked, while they judged you for believing too much, while your own thoughts told you there was no hope, I kept working. Silent but steady, unseen but unstoppable. I didn't interrupt your process, because there was a depth that only struggle could create. And now, after you've been tested in secret, after you refused to give up when logic told you to, now the time has come for me to lift up what I placed in your name. There are movements happening that no one can explain. There are people you've never met, who are being used to unlock the situations that have held you back for so long. There are systems that once seemed unchangeable, but now they are being shaken from within. What you couldn't move, what you couldn't control, and what you couldn't even touch is now being touched by my power. Papers are being signed without you asking for them. Accounts that once weighed heavily on you are being resolved. I am sending help in unexpected ways, through paths you never thought possible, through doors that were once closed. It is no coincidence that everything is starting to move at once. The pieces of the puzzle were never lost. They were in my hands, waiting for the perfect moment to come together. Now, the picture is beginning to take shape. Now, you will see that everything that seemed unrelated had a divine connection. I placed each detail in its proper place, timed everything perfectly, opened the right doors, and brought the right people into your life, all without you seeing it, because you didn't need to see it. You only needed to trust. Even when you doubted, I did not cancel my plan. Even when you felt small, weak, and overwhelmed, I continued to hold on to my promise. My faithfulness doesn't depend on your strength or perfection. It is grounded in my covenant, a covenant that never changes, never fades, and can't be broken by what you feel or don't feel. I do not measure time the way men do. What seemed like a long wait to you was, for me, just perfect preparation. And now, the time of fulfillment is not something in the future, it is here, right now. Resources that have been around you like clouds ready to pour are now breaking open. Today, the rain will fall. You won't need to beg. You won't need to push. You will simply receive and know that it was from me. Not because you deserved it, but because my love is unbreakable. Not by your justice, but by my eternal decision. I have lifted the veil of lack and am now covering your life with provision that cannot be explained. I have already spoken the word, and my word does not return empty. The process is already in motion, and nothing will stop it. Keep doing what you are doing with honesty and integrity. Don't let fear change your heart. Don't let the pressure of your circumstances alter who you are. The fruit will find you. The fulfillment will surround you. And when you see it come to pass, you will understand that every day of waiting mattered, every tear you shed was watered by my grace, and every silent moment was the setup for the power of my faithfulness. There are times when the heavens open without warning, when things that seemed unshakable begin to move, and when what was hidden is revealed with power, without asking for permission. That moment is now. This is not just another ordinary season, nor another day on the calendar. It is not by chance or coincidence. It is a moment marked by my hand in the story of your life. This is when what had been reserved for you begins to be shown, when what seemed to have been taken by others starts to be returned not by human effort, but by my unchangeable authority. I have set boundaries that the enemy cannot cross. I have closed paths that would have led to more pain, even if you didn't understand why at the time. There were times when doors you desperately wanted were shut, and you didn't realize that by saying no, I was actually protecting you from a trap. I did not allow certain opportunities because the hands offering them had hidden motives. I protected your future by making decisions that may have seemed like loss, but were truly about keeping you safe. There are blessings that cannot come while you are surrounded by things that would contaminate them, limit them, or pull you away from your true purpose. This is why I am doing something new now. I am changing the flow. I am repositioning your influence, moving things around strategically, but without making a big announcement. There are people who will be moved out of your life without conflict or drama because their time with you is done. Don't be afraid when you see certain relationships weaken or certain doors close unexpectedly. This is progress, not a setback. I am clearing the way for what is coming. Not everything that has been close to you is aligned with my purpose. Along with provision, I am bringing order. I am making the crooked paths straight, clearing up confusion, and separating what is real from what only appears to be. I do not want to give you what I have promised you if your foundation is not strong enough to hold it. If the environment isn't ready, this is the time to build something firm. I am building in you a foundation that will not fall when the increase comes, because the increase is on its way. But first, I will secure your foundation. I have started a work in your life that goes beyond your immediate needs. It goes deeper than just financial concerns, and broader than what you can see. I am awakening a new level of understanding in you. You will begin to notice things that were previously hidden. You will see intentions that were once unclear. You will recognize opportunities disguised as disruptions. You will no longer look at times through the lens of anxiety, but with trust. What is moving right now is not only about resolving a difficult moment, but it is about starting a new cycle. Everything may have allowed to happen has had a purpose. Even the times when you felt like you were going backward were actually part of the plan to push you farther than you could imagine. Not every step forward is obvious at first. Some of the most important battles happen in silence, far from praise and recognition. But what seemed small was its seed. What appeared still was the building of something within. And now that your foundation is ready, now that your roots are strong, now that your heart is more aligned with my will than with your immediate desires, the fullness of what I first designed for you is beginning to show. What is coming is not just an answer, but a real transformation. This transformation will not be temporary. It will not be something that happens and fades away. It will be like a wave that comes and stays, like a presence that settles and does not leave. It will be so clear, so obvious, that even those who doubt it will have to admit that it wasn't you. It wasn't by luck. It wasn't by strategy, but it was by my hand. Everything that once seemed to repeat without change, as if you were stuck in a never-ending cycle, is now breaking. You will no longer live under the same weight of limitations that you've carried for years. What you have silently endured, what you've learned to accept with resignation, will now be confronted by my intervention. And when I step in, nothing can stay the same. This time, it's not just about holding on, it's about receiving, because everything has been prepared with precision, and now you are ready. What has been in the shadows, waiting for the right moment, is now beginning to flow out as an unstoppable stream of fulfillment. Do not look back, do not question what has been left behind. Look at how the new is beginning to take form in front of you, for I have already sent the signal, and what comes from my mouth will never return without accomplishing its purpose. There are times when everything may seem normal on the outside, but deep within, shifts are happening that are changing your future. This is happening right now. Though your surroundings may appear unchanged, and the day starts just like any other, Something different has already begun in the spiritual realm. The circumstances might not show what I am doing, but I am doing it regardless. I do not work to show off, but to fulfill my promises. And in that fulfillment, nothing is overlooked, nothing is forgotten, and there are no delays beyond my purpose. You spent time holding on with your own strength, trying to solve things that were beyond you. You've looked for paths that seemed to offer relief, only to find more confusion. But now all of that will change, not because you are stronger, but because I have chosen to step in with my power. You no longer need to struggle beyond what you've already done. I am not asking you to take one more step in the dark. I have seen your quiet faithfulness, your consistency even when you were tired. And now, I am taking control of what you could no longer handle on your own. Decisions are being made in your favor, even without you being there. Names are being remembered in places you never thought you'd be. Situations that seemed stuck are now moving without you needing to do anything, because when I decide to act, I move things without asking for permission. Changes are happening that were not caused by your words but by your quiet obedience, your dedication, and your refusal to take shortcuts. The way you chose to stay pure, honest, and without manipulation, not seeking attention, was an offering that is now producing fruit. The people who were around you and didn't see your worth will not have the power to decide your future. I did not allow you to depend on their decisions because your steps were never meant to follow their approval. Your path has always been guided by the design I set for your life before you were born. Everything that seemed unfair, every time you were ignored, and every opportunity that seemed taken from you will be replaced with something even better. Nothing has truly been lost. What did not come in the time of men is now arriving by the decision of heaven. I am separating you from the rush of anxiety. I am disconnecting you from the voices that pushed you to act without peace. I am changing the way you move forward. It is no longer about chasing after what you think you are missing. It is about walking in harmony with what has already been set aside for you because what is meant for you is already on its way. You don't need to force it. You don't need to run after it. You simply need to stay on the right path. It is in that path where everything will start to find you. The right opportunities, the right connections, the right resources, and the grace for new beginnings. They may not come from where you expect, but they will arrive clearly. In this season, you are not being led by emotions but by purpose. What you are feeling inside those moments of expectation without clear explanation, that sense of restlessness that doesn't bother you but awakens you, is proof that you are stepping into something completely new. It is an atmosphere where old cycles no longer hold power, where the past's labels no longer stick, where previous limitations cannot find a place. I am renewing your environment, but I am also renewing your mind because you cannot hold on to something new with old thinking. I am teaching you to see things from a fresh perspective, to trust even when there is no clear sign, to let go without fear, to wait without giving in to hopelessness. The maturity built in you through quiet moments, through the process, through those long nights with no answers, will now be the solid foundation on which I will build abundance. Not the kind of abundance the world measures, but true fulfillment. What is coming will not be temporary, it will not be fragile, and it will not fade away. It will be stable, lasting, and will carry the mark of my faithfulness. There are doors that were closed to you because what is about to open will be far greater. Do not see rejection as a loss, it was simply a redirection. I am leading you toward something you weren't looking for, but something that was designed just for you. What seems unexpected will become the defining moment. What was unplanned will be what puts down deep roots. And when you look back, you won't feel sorrow for what didn't happen, but deep gratitude for what I chose not to let you have. Everything is being carefully arranged, not with loud noise or applause, but with divine precision. You will know it, not because everyone sees it at first, but because the peace within you will confirm that this time you are not walking alone or relying on your own strength. I am behind every step, in front of every door, within every important conversation, and nothing I am arranging will fail. There is a deep change taking place, one that is not just an economic solution or a temporary fix for a need, but a complete transformation. It is silent, yet irreversible. I am organizing your story from behind the scenes, restoring lost connections, restarting cycles that were once interrupted, and opening paths that were previously closed to your understanding. This time, you are not just being helped. You are being redirected, repositioned, and planted in fertile ground. I don't want you to simply receive. I want you to stay and thrive. Everything that was once unstable will begin to find its balance. What was driven by emotional highs and inner doubts will begin to be affirmed from within. Before I give you the visible, I have already worked on the inside. You will no longer need to measure progress by what others see, because something much deeper has been awakened within you. And with strong conviction, no force will shake you. Because even though the ground may look the same, you are no longer the same person who walked on it before. The identity I have been shaping in the quiet will now begin to emerge, without noise, without competition, and without anxiety. I will not multiply your resources just for you to lose focus. I will not give you something you cannot handle. That's why the process was so precise. That's why there were times when you didn't understand anything, when you thought you had been forgotten, and when it seemed like everyone else was moving forward except you. But every step was planned, every fall was controlled, and every silence was part of the process. You were not ignored, you were being shaped. You were not abandoned, you were being prepared for something greater than you could imagine. Now, I am raising a new standard for you. What you once tolerated will no longer have a place. What you once accepted just to avoid losing something or someone will no longer be in your life. Because where I am taking you, there is no room for the leftovers of the past. I am clearing the atmosphere around you. I am removing thought patterns that, although they seemed harmless, were actually holding back the flow of the blessings you've been waiting to receive. I am purifying your inner world, not because you are unclean, but because what I am about to give you requires a pure heart, clear intentions, and a sensitivity to follow my timing. Rejoice, for what has been delayed, held back, and out of reach is being released right now by my mighty hand. This is not a figment of your imagination. It's not a coincidence, it is fulfillment. Yes, it is about that value, that resource, that money that rightfully belonged to you, the promise that you've been waiting for, the thing that excited you and that you so desperately needed but could never seem to find. You searched, you asked, you called, you prayed, and you waited, yet everything seemed blocked, hidden, and just out of reach. But today, I tell you, heaven has moved on your behalf. The command has been issued from my throne. I have spoken, and when I speak, no power can stand against me. What was tied up by bureaucracy, delayed by hard hearts, or blocked by people or human systems is now being unlocked by my divine justice. For I am the righteous judge, and nothing escapes my sight. Who told you it was over? who convinced you to accept defeat as if it was the final answer, who put in your mind the idea that I had closed the door on you. I do not shut what I am still working on. I do not deny you what I have already promised. I, the Lord, am not a man who lies, nor the Son of Man who changes his mind. I have seen the time that passed, and I wasn't indifferent to it. I saw how you made plans, holding on to that promise that seemed so near. I saw how hope faded when the days went by and the answer didn't come. I saw how you even felt ashamed to ask for the same thing again, as if it was too much to ask, as if it bothered me. But hear this, I do not forget. I do not turn away your requests. I do not ignore your needs. Every prayer of yours reached me like a sweet fragrance. Every cry was heard, and now is the time to answer you. I will not let anything that belongs to you be lost. A spiritual movement is happening right now, behind the scenes, orchestrating the events of your life. Though you may not see it with your natural eyes yet, the unseen world is already moving. Angels are being sent with clear instructions. Documents that were stuck are now starting to move forward. People who once ignored you will begin to feel an urge to respond. Hearts that were closed will be softened. Systems that seemed impossible to break will start to give way. Past contracts that were never fulfilled will be reactivated. What was held back by legal arguments, what was stopped by lack of human will now be released by my eternal will. When I choose to release, no person, system, or situation can stop what is meant for you. You thought it was a no, but it was only a not yet. You thought it was a loss, but it was actually protection. I saved it for you at the perfect moment, at the right time, because my timing is always perfect and is not controlled by human clocks. What you thought was a delay was actually preparation. What you saw as silence, I saw as the process unfolding. Now, the time for fulfillment has arrived. Now, the heavens have set the time for your release.